Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you work, the money just disappears the moment it lands in your hands? That was exactly the situation of one Redditor, drowning in debt, stressed every single day, and wondering if life would always feel like one giant financial trap. But here's the twist. Within a few years, they managed to flip their story completely. From broke and buried under debt, to standing tall, debt-free, and finally breathing again. Today, I want to share this story with you, not just because it's inspiring, but because it proves that with small, consistent steps, anyone can turn things around. At the start, things were bad, really bad. This person admitted that every night before going to bed, they would open their banking app and feel their stomach twist. The numbers didn't lie. The checking account was always low. The credit card balances kept climbing. And the worst part? They didn't even know where all the money was going. Rent, food, gas, random Amazon purchases, takeout meals when cooking felt exhausting. It all piled up faster than they could keep track. The debt wasn't just financial. It was emotional. It weighed on them every single day, like carrying a backpack full of rocks that never got lighter. Then came the breaking point. One day, after their card got declined at the grocery store, they sat in their car and cried. They admitted they felt ashamed. But in that moment, something snapped. They told themselves, I don't want to live like this anymore. Something has to change. And that was the beginning. The very first step they took wasn't glamorous. They didn't win the lottery. They didn't suddenly land a high-paying job. Instead, they opened a notebook and wrote down, line by line, every single expense from the past month. It was painful to look at. Streaming subscriptions they barely used, daily coffees that added up to hundreds a month, impulse buys that brought temporary happiness, but long-term regret. By the end, they realized something shocking. They weren't broke because they didn't make enough money. They were broke because their money was slipping through cracks, and they hadn't even noticed. The next move was simple but powerful. They built a budget, not a complicated spreadsheet, just 3 categories: needs, wants, and debt. Needs came first: rent, utilities, groceries. Wants were second: eating out, shopping, little extras. And then debt. Every leftover dollar, every spare bit of income went directly toward paying off what they owed. At first, it felt impossible, like throwing tiny drops of water on a raging fire. But week after week, month after month, the balances started shrinking. And here's something important. They didn't cut out everything that made life enjoyable. That's how most budgets fail. Instead, they allowed themselves one small treat each month, something to look forward to. Because this wasn't just about money. It was about building a life they could sustain long term. Slowly, discipline became habit. Cooking at home replaced fast food. Library books replaced expensive nights out. Extra hours at work and side gigs brought in additional income. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't fast. But it was working. The day they paid off their very first credit card, they described it as one of the happiest moments of their life. Not because the number was huge, but because it proved they had the power to fight back. Fast forward, month after month, snowballing payments, celebrating small wins, and refusing to give up, they finally reached the moment they once thought was impossible. Cero debt. No credit card balances, no loans, nothing holding them down anymore. They said it felt like breathing fresh air after being underwater for years. That weight, that constant anxiety, was gone. So, what can we take away from this story? First, awareness is everything. You can't fix what you don't measure. Tracking your expenses will open your eyes to habits you didn't even notice. Second, progress is built on consistency, not speed. It doesn't matter if your payments feel small at first. What matters is that you keep moving forward. And finally, debt is not a life sentence. It might feel heavy, it might feel endless, but with patience, discipline, and persistence, it can be defeated. If you're watching this and you're in debt right now, let this story be proof. You're not stuck forever. The road is tough, yes, but step by step, you can change your financial future. And if you found this story inspiring, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs hope, and of course subscribe to FinanceVerse for more real stories and practical money advice. Because your journey to financial freedom starts with knowledge, and I'll be here to share it with you.